Eric, Rick, and Rick of Avernus. Welcome to 69 Face of Rock. How are you guys doing today?
Doing great.
Fantastic.
Excellent.
A little tired.
First of all, congratulations on your new album. It took a long time to get it out. You must be relieved that it's finally out.
That's an understatement.
Yeah.
27 years. That's all. 27 years.
If you were to break it down, what took so long?
Wow. That's a good question. It's not loaded, but I'll give you my quick. I'll try to make it quick. Oh my God. Got together for a reunion show, for Holiday of Horror, 2012, I believe, and got around the guys. Got those old warm feelings start to surface, and we just got along. And it was like to me at least, it felt like nothing. It felt like no time passed, so we just thought, I'll do a little jamming. We had a few ideas. Those ideas seemed to be, at least to me, more significant than I expected. And then we had a first version of Nemesis and Return to Dust that just, long story, didn't come out right. I think that was around 2015 or 16, something like that. And just life happens and things. We did a couple shows and we're trying to get things together and it just couldn't quite connect. And finally, I guess it just felt like the time was right, and then we just wanted to get it done.
COVID happened.
Yeah, then COVID happened.
It was wonderful. It kept us all at home, and we had no choice but to write music. And Jimmy, our guitarist, had this idea for putting together an album. He recorded it in his house, put it all together. There's songs and riffs that we had been doing for a while. And he just came up with a pre-production version of the album, and we all jumped on board. That was really how it happened. If COVID didn't happen, we wouldn't have had an album out.
On the other hand, all of those delays gave you time to perfect every aspect of the songs and the recording. Would you agree with that?
I would say so. We approached the songs way different. Usually in the past we would all be recording at the same time, more or less.
In a room together.
Yeah, we went to a few different studios. Like these guys went and got the drums down with like the rough tracks and some kind of rough synthesizer ideas just to fill in space that they came up with. Sent it my way, and then at that point I started thinking about what I wanted to do with it. And went a few times, recorded vocals, guitar, synth, and all that. This was actually one of those albums, I can't speak for them, but it was where I didn't record with them, I came in later.
Yeah.
But I think what was nice is we did have time, because we weren't on the label, we didn't have anybody pressuring us. And I think we were happy with the way it came out, and we decided, hey, let's just put it out and see what happens.
To sum it up, do you think this is Avernus at its best?
Yes.
I'm the happiest with this. I think this was the record we always wanted to do. And again, I think I don't like to speak for these guys, but I think I can. I think when it was finally done, like Rick had said, we just knew better because we had done a lot of things a little too quick, too much haste, and just things fall through the cracks and they don't get completed the way you want. Guitar tones don't sound right, or maybe just we're feeling our own pressure to get things done. I think, like you said, this time was on our side, and we took advantage of it. And I think this was the record I always wanted to do.
There was a maturation process, over these years. It was 27 years between albums, and I think that just growing as musicians and knowing each other so well, these are my guys. These are the guys that I go to battle with, and I have ultimate trust in what they're going to do, and they have that same trust in me, and it goes throughout the band that way. And yeah, it's something, we did something significant. It feels at least that way.
There is a reason I asked that question, because upon hearing the advanced songs for the album, I clearly felt this is going to be the big breakthrough for the band. Wow. Do you feel this way?
It's funny because we were talking the other day. It's like when we kind of just, really after our 1997, our album of the Fallen, which sounds way different than anything else we've done, came out, and at that point we kind of just fizzled. I kind of kept it going here and there with a few different guys. Rick came back, Lev came back. At one point I wasn't in the band either for a few months. But what happened is, I think, I agree with Rick, is we had to mature a little bit. I think also too is coming back a little bit older, wiser. I think we also learned how to write better. I remember when we first started out, it took so long to write one song because we were just trying to figure out what to do. We had too many ideas, which I guess is not a bad problem. But at that point, I think when it comes down to is all of that over the years, we all have different influences. Long story short, I think this is really
culmination.
Yeah, and to be honest, we were, again, going back here, didn't expect it. I mean, we're extremely happy and grateful for everybody that has listened to it and, said it meant a lot to them. If they were a fan, like an old fan, or they just, it made them feel something. It's pretty awesome and overwhelming in a little way.
Yeah, it's an honor.
Unexpected too, I think, just with...
because as soon as I posted something on social media, it just blew up, and it wouldn't stop. I'm like at work, and I think so.
Yeah, it was.
Geez.
There's been interviews, podcasts, everything has been coming our way. This is kind of a new era in music where, before it was zines that you did, they would mail you a few questions and Rick took care of all that. Now there's so much attention focused on this new album that we're having to split things up and, talk about who's going to do what. You take this interview, I'll take that interview, he takes this interview. It's been really fantastic. Everything like we could have hoped for and more.
How long did you take to write these songs?
That's a hard question.
That's a hard question. 27 years.
How much time do you have?
Years. In a sense, years.
No, that's a good question. It's a difficult one, because not every song was written the same way. We had, like Rick was saying, we had a couple songs completed. I think even 3 or 4 that we kind of had pretty well fleshed out. And Jimmy took some other ideas that we had and really, to Jimmy's credit, really did a great job making sense of some of that. Because some of the parts were, I heard them now, you listen to them, you're like, no, this is not going to work. And then Jimmy takes that idea and he made it work. I think when we heard the whole album, that's what got me excited. That's what made me think. But as far as the length, that's a hard one because we probably took a few months to write. Right? Nemesis, Return of the Dust probably took.
Yeah.
We were getting together pretty frequently.
Yeah, probably a couple months. But one thing we've always done is we've always gone back and just refined it.
Over and over
to a point where there's an original version of those 2 songs, Return to Dust and Nemesis, possibly out there, and
they're nothing like what they sound like now.
Which kind of brings me to the question, because I recall, in fact, I even filmed when you played Nemesis live, and I posted that. Whereas Nemesis now does not really resemble that Nemesis. So how did that song, for example, mature?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. I can tell the story of that. It was really, we recorded it. It was played too fast. We kind of, I don't want to say we cut corners. We put our all into it.
We got excited.
It was really Jimmy that decided to go take the song, put a click to it, put a metronome to it, and he figured out exactly what beats per minute every part should be played, and that's when we were reintroduced to it, played it slower, played it more balanced, and it captured the essence of the song the way that it should have been captured.
And a couple of things were shortened too. I think you pointed that out.
Yeah.
There's a few things that maybe played a little too long. And
there were adjustments made, and again, that's thanks to COVID.
Would you say that was the case with all of the songs?
Yeah.
So good.
Actually, I
think so.
Because, well, at least my experience is when I went to record my stuff in Elmwood Park, and this guy Joe, he's really difficult to deal with, but we got through it. No, actually, he's a sweetheart. So
Yeah, we love you, Joe.
I love you. There's a song, there's a couple songs on there where we were trying different things that was on this kind of rough demo version, and then when they went to, I think it was Chuck Masek?
Yeah,
Chuck Masek. There was another studio we went to. We found those things weren't really working, so we got rid of them. We brought in, you brought in Jeff from from Beyond These Walls, his other band he's in, did some stuff on a couple of the songs, and it's one of those where it just keeps evolving, and that's a good, bad problem, and that comes with the music that we write, is there's a lot of space, and there's a lot of things you can do with that, but that also becomes kind of a pain in the ass, because it's like, well, do I want to do this, or want to do this? That's why our songs sometimes have taken a lot longer to play. It's not because the songs are long, it's just because
They take a while to write.
yeah, you just want to kind of do the best you can, because we're all about just writing songs that almost feel like a movie. We don't go into where we practice, go, okay, let's write some death metal doom stuff. It's let's write something and let's see how we feel about it, and it's going to come out the way it's going to come out.
Yeah, it was 4 different studios that we used for this album, for Grievances.
Having said that, is there a chance that some of the songs may still change from what they are now?
It's happened before, so
It's not
Yeah, that's true. Like we kind of played around against Stasi. That song is, almost 30 years old.
Yeah, it's a lot different.
It's a little bit different. It's different than the way we first wrote it.
I'm old and you're making me feel old.
Yeah, but you get better at your instrument and you want to try new things. And we're not purists so much.
No, we leave the songs open. I've always prided myself and ourselves in being able to make adjustments. If we come up with something better for the song, then we use that.
Sometimes it takes one mistake.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've written some of our songs just from tuning up and just waiting for people to show up. All of a sudden we got riffs, we got a melody behind it, and then all of a sudden we have a new song, and it's kind of these happy accidents that sometimes our best stuff comes out of.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How focused were you when it comes to the direction of the new material?
That's another good question. That's a hard one.
Extremely.
These are all good and very difficult questions, but very. That's a hard. I honestly don't. Funny when I say I felt we finally did get to do the record that at least I always wanted. That's a really hard one.
We were focused. I mean, again, it was one of those things where we all had to do our part in learning and relearning these songs. We had them. They were rewritten. That was thanks to Jimmy putting everything together, and we had to play them properly. And everything was played very carefully. Everything was played to a metronome. Every piece, every beat was thought of ahead of time. We did the drums in one studio, the guitars in another, the vocals in another. We had 2 engineers and 2 producers on it. It kind of went from one place to another until we were happy with it.
And that may not sound like that's a focused thing, but it is.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is. You got to be happy with what you do, and that's one thing that we've learned, I think, during this 30-something year journey.
It seems like a lot of different pieces coming together into something really special. What inspired the songs?
Gosh.
I think Rick, you should answer that because that's
wow.
the lyrics.
To me, I can't speak for anybody else that writes lyrics and things like that, but the lyrics really come last, and the way they kind of get inspired. I don't know them. I like to sit with the music we have and close my eyes and just imagine things playing out, almost like a movie. If anybody gets to know us, we're huge movie nerds. If you ever seen any of our interviews, people sometimes probably talk more about movies than our music.
That's true.
That's a problem. We should stop that. But I think with this it's all about, I let the music tell me what I should probably focus it on, and I think that a lot of times it just comes out the way it comes out. I continue to write, and because even in the studio it's very inspiring. I actually get really inspired in the studio because you hear things differently than you do maybe in the practice space where it's louder and all that. I think we don't really have a specific concept of a band, but it's more or less of creating an atmosphere. This particular album, I wrote it from the guise of when I started writing lyrics for it, I was going to turn 50. And I'm looking at half a century being alive. And thinking about when I first started and met these guys, we were just babies. And as I've gotten older and things like that, at one point the band was just didn't do anything, and I put myself back in school and started a career and got married and all that, and I'm very grateful for that. And I didn't really think about it, but it really came to me that there's a story to tell as we get older, because I can't just spring out of bed anymore because I gotta make sure my knee actually can move and shit. Sometimes you get that surprise hair that just grows in the middle of your head. There's nothing around it. It doesn't have a family. It's by itself.
Weird things happen.
Weird shit happens.
Things start hurting that didn't hurt.
Yeah, and all that kind of caught up with us. And Erik's got children. They're both in college. Things like that.
That's weird.
Rick's also got a career. Jimmy is in jungle rod as well. He's probably touring musician and all that. And we're all older, and we've all known each other for probably more than half our life.
More than half our life. Yeah.
So, to kind of bring it back, to me, it's about death, but it's also about life.
That's right.
Which kind of, again, brings me to another question. As you age and experience life, are the themes you're exploring changing too?
Yeah,
I would say so, because your taste buds change every 7 years. Your values can change, and things I used to enjoy, like not that long ago, an album I used to really love. I lost it somewhere and I found it again. Excited, I listened to it. And I'm like, this is fucking horrible, and it's not.
That's true.
It's so true. Maybe for other people it's still a great album. For me, I'm just like, what was that about?
Yeah.
It was a growing moment, realizing, okay, I'm not that person anymore.
You get to a point where there's sort of, you're dealing with mortality, where you're dealing with the fear of death. You're also dealing with the fear of life. And I think those are the concepts that this album is wrapped around, ultimately there's an end, and there's a fear of that end, but there's also a fear of living. And that is a scary thing too. And the aging process along the way is the sort of the space-time that kind of carries the whole thing along.
I can completely relate to that.
Yeah.
Can you explain the title Grievances?
Sure. That I forgot where it came from. It just popped in my head. I always have either song titles or possible lyrics that just come out of nowhere, and I just put them down notes on my phone. I have 500 of them right now. That's what happens when you have ADHD. But also too, Grievances. I saw the album title. I'm like, that is kind of cool. Originally, I was going to use it just for a lyric. Then when we were writing this and getting it done, we kind of were like, okay, what are we going to call it? What are we going to do? All the stuff you do after production. And we were like, hey, Grievances sounds like a good album title. And then they went and found the cover, which I think really kind of fits it. Kind of talks about that life and death.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you to explain that cover, because I'm really taken by what it is. So how did it come to be?
Well, Eric, why don't you? You kind of
Jimmy.
I got to see it.
Yeah, Jimmy found it. It's an old help me with the name. I always say it.
Jeez, I can't remember, but it's a French painter that did it.
Frederick August Schneck. Mid 1800s.
19th century. So yeah, mid 1800s.
And Jimmy he said he found it. And he's like, I did a little research on it. And the artist himself was pretty interesting, because he's got other work that's really grim and just.
Yeah, this was his masterpiece.
Yeah, it just grabs you. And I saw it, and Jimmy sent it. It was like it just hit you in the chest like a load of bricks.
You see that mother, and she's almost got a human, like, you know, face that's mourning to her. You know, it's anthropomorphic. It's you can see the sadness, the sorrow in her face, and you see those crows, or maybe they're ravens, maybe both.
Raven crows.
They're raven crows.
New bird.
And it's a cycle of life that again works on mortality and you know, fear of death and the fear of life. It's one of those things that we all have to deal with.
It's definitely stops time when I look at it.
Yeah.
What plans do you have to promote this album now that it's out?
Oh yeah, I mean we're gonna be we got basically it's a record release album. It's coming in beginning of December 2024 this year. Next year we're gonna be probably focusing on trying to do some fests, Smoky Metal Fest, which makes sense. You know, because I think it's a great time. The album had been out for a while, and we've got some other shows and all that good stuff. I think also too is when we continue to do interviews, we've been like a steady stream, like it's weekly, I would say, which is cool. At one point, I know that might, you know, temper down a bit. I don't know if you guys want to throw some stuff down too here.
What are we talking about? Sorry, I lost you halfway.
That was blabbing. So.
Promoting the new album.
Yes.
Promoting the
Yeah.
album. So here, with that, we have a couple of shows set up for this year. Next year is an open book. We're not sure what we're doing yet. We have, like you said, Milwaukee Metal Fest.
Doing that.
I think it will be fests along the way. Sorry, my phone is ringing, and it's over there.
That's all right.
It'll stop. We have some music finally.
Yeah, right?
Yeah,
There you go.
at least I picked a good song.
Yeah. You mentioned Milwaukee Metal Fest.
Yes.
And I understand there's a great story as to how two of you have met, right? And I'm sure the people who are watching this would love to hear that story. And then maybe even expand to see how Erik entered the picture.
Yeah.
So begin with the two of you and then...
Yes.
Yes.
I would love to. You want to begin? Or you want me to?
You know what? Here, I'll start.
Okay.
I'm at Milwaukee Metal Fest 5. It's my first Milwaukee Metal Fest, right? 1991. It was incredible. I got there like 6 or 8 hours early because I was that big of a fan. And you know who hung out with us for that whole time? James motherfucking Murphy. It was incredible. He was the only person.
People also know him as James Murphy.
Yeah, but he's James motherfucking Murphy.
That's his Christian name.
James Murphy. Anyways, there was a beer line, and it was very long and vast. And I get into it, and all of a sudden, there's Rick McCoy in front of me, I think.
Yeah, it was me. I had a friend of mine, Ed, I went to high school with.
Yeah.
And it was it was my first Metal Fest as well. So we were standing in line, and Rick had this Paradise Lost shirt that he made.
Yeah.
And at that time, I had just discovered them because, you know, like a lot of us, just really more Florida death metal. Before Roadrunner, RC Records, Combat, early death metal stuff. The 90s, I just was a huge fanatic, and but then I went to some store, and they had imports, and I saw the Paradise Lost. I'm like, what is this? I listened to it, and to this day, it still kind of gives me, gothic.
Yeah.
It gives me the same feeling.
Yes.
I never heard anything like it before, and even since in some way. And so I was really getting into that, and we're standing in line, and his shirt, I was like, oh my God, because everybody had probably a Cannibal Corpse, things like that.
Oh yeah.
Sepultura, because they were headlining, Napalm and Death were also playing. So him and I just started talking, and
We like the slow stuff.
Yeah, he's like, I play drums. I'm like, at that time I played guitar. I've always been a guitarist, even though I don't play like what these guys do. In the band.
Traditional.
Yeah, traditional. These guys are the masters of it. I'm not even gonna go there. Near there. That's your territory.
All right.
But anyways, we spent the day like watching bands and stuff at this fest. Talking about, hey,
what would I do? What would you do? We should get
Yeah.
together. We should hang out. We should start a band together.
Yeah.
I mean, that was kind of my goal, and that was his goal. But we never met the right people, and there was an instant connection. It was electricity.
Yeah, it was like this chemistry.
Absolutely, right away.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, we're exchanging numbers, and there were no cell phones back then. We didn't have fucking pagers back then. And so we like, we can't lose each other, but we lost each other somewhere.
Yeah, because there's like, 5,000 people there. So.
Yeah, it was a lot.
And I remember I was like, I left, and I'm like, dude, I should wait for him, but it was it was just getting late, and I had to get home and stuff because I was like maybe 18, and I still lived at home. So a couple months later at Medusa's in Chicago, which I love that club. Anybody that
was the best
school
place.
people would probably know what the hell I'm talking about with Medusa's. It was Bolt Thrower, Believer, and Sacrifice. So it was a really good show too. Rick has an additional adjunct story that goes with it.
I love Bolt Thrower, right? And this was what tour was that for?
War Master.
War Master.
Yeah. So the best one, and I had a big crush on Joe Bench at the time because everybody did. So I met her after the show, but I knew that I had to find one person, Rick, and I didn't see him the entire show. I looked for him everywhere. Really, I did. I looked for you everywhere. And it was when I walked out after the show was over that I noticed he was up against a wall, just chilling, looking at everybody. And then he saw me, and I saw him. I was like, dude.
Yeah. So
I need your number.
So we like the next day or the next night we actually talked. Back in the day, it was we didn't have cell phones. It was either plugging into the wall.
Wireless
thing out. Remember those?
Antenna.
So we would talk for hours, and I remember we came up with a name for the band.
Yeah, what was it?
It was Exhumed Corpse. And then he said we should change it to Exhumed, which we didn't do. But we already came up with a t-shirt idea, but we never wrote any music, which is not too different from what we do today.
Do we still have those shirts?
Sorry.
So, but what happened is we eventually kind of didn't do a lot. He met what was going to be our very first guitarist, a guy named Jason, and we formed an early version of the band where Jason and I played guitar. Rick was drums, of course, and he had another guy singing. We called Solemn Peace, which was the name he came up with. We wrote like 2 songs, broke up because it just wasn't doing much of anything, and for reason about almost a year later, we started talking again, and he goes, Jason and I want to start a new band, and we went. At that point, I decided I was just going to sing. So that's when I started just doing vocals.
Let me pause you for 1 second because this is a really cool story. So I didn't know Rick could sing. I didn't know he could do the growls that he did. And you came over one day and we started jamming. And I was like, what are we going to do about a singer? And you're like, well, I can kind of do growls. I still have the cassette somewhere of you growling. And I was just like, this guy is incredible at it. And he is. He's one of the best death metal singers. Say what you will. And we had a singer and a guitarist at that point. We had a front man. And we kind of pieced the band together from there. We played our second. And that's where we met Erik. He played in a band called
Incision.
And I told Rick, I'm like, that's the guy we need. I don't know how good you were on guitar because I'm not a drummer. How would I know? I just said he's got the feel, he's got the emotion. He's somebody that's really into the music. And I came up to him and what did I tell you, Erik?
You had said that, hey, we're going to be looking for a guitar player, man. You should come join us. And
what else did you say?
I told Rick, I'm like, man, I would love to, because I honestly I was a legit fan. Loved Rick's vocals, loved his drumming, loved the songs. And Rick,
What else did I say?
Rick said, hey man, F your band, you guys suck, you guys are not gonna do anything, we're putting stuff together, we're moving, we got things going on. Screw that.
Yeah.
You guys aren't doing anything. So I felt kind of insulted, but I'm like, man, it was like I had an opportunity to get to be in a band with these guys.
And he joined,
And-
it worked. It worked. I told him his band is not going anywhere. They're not going to do anything.
And-
we're going places.
And if I'm being honest,
27 years.
but 30 plus years, I'm still with these guys, so that speaks volumes, I guess.
Yeah, and Erik was 15. Like
15?
He was just a kid. When we first met him and stuff. And you were much older, like 17.
No, yeah, I was like 17.
Yeah, I was like the oldest.
14.
And the only one who could drive. So, that's how things happened. But at that point, we did a demo where it was Erik, of course, Rick, myself, Jason. At that time, we had a bass player, Tony Volpe, who was with us for quite a while. And we released a demo called Delicate Tracery of Red. Doesn't sound anything like us today. It was very it's bad. Some people actually it's bad. Some people really like it. It's kind of autopsy-ish, but autopsy-ish. Autopsy is
Kinda
so much
grindcore
better than that. Autopsy rules anyway. But we put this demo out. It was just nasty. The producer was so fed up with us. He basically was, go fuck you guys. You can mix it any way you want. So he gave us free reign. The very first song I mixed first, so it's all vocals, and you hear this. That's a guitar. There's one I think it's all drums, and then there's one where it's nothing but. Because our guitarist wanted the nasty sound.
Oh, yeah, it was over the top.
Yeah, we played a show or two on it. We got to a point where we were like, we kind of don't want to work with this guy anymore.
Jason.
Yeah, I hope he's doing well where he is. I
God
see
bless
him
his
doing a lot
heart.
of time. Yeah, but he was just kind of difficult to deal with, and so we decided we wanted to do more different type of music because we liked Paradise Lost.
Yeah, My Dying Bride come out since then.
And other things too. And I just happened to have a guitar synth because couldn't find a band where I was living, and so I was going to do my own thing. And I was really getting into a lot of like the early '90s shoegaze music coming out of England, as well as like early goth music. So a lot of people using delay and reverb and just cranking it. Like Lucia, which is a great band, they're kind of dark wave. The Cure even, the Disintegration album. I rip off a lot from that.
Do?
I totally do. You wouldn't know it. Yeah, stuff like Fields of the Nephilim even. Those are my things.
Dead Can Dance.
Dead Can Dance. And so all of that.
That might have been Robert from The Cure calling about it.
Yeah,
I think that was,
he's looking for his royalties.
So we're like, hey, what kind of instruments can you have on your guitar synth? Could you use?
Yeah.
I happen to have violin. And we're like, we should do something with this.
Yeah.
And of course, we knew Jason would not be for it.
I had to let him go.
We had to basically, we said, okay, dude, we're gonna split, and we did.
We wrote Anastasia.
Yeah, we just played a show tonight. The last song we played was the first song we wrote,
That's right.
and it was a riff Erik had. And I remember Rick calling me, he goes, you gotta hear this riff Erik came up with.
Yeah.
And that was the.
Starting riff.
And he comes up with a violin line over it on the guitar synth, and we knew that night, it was the first time that we said, we've captured something. We've got
We don't know what,
lightning
but
bug in guitar.
something.
Yeah.
We don't know what it was, but
Yeah, and at that point, we didn't even have like a PA, we didn't have like a microphone to sing in.
Didn't even know we needed one.
Yeah, our bass player, sometimes didn't play through anything, he just kind of punched his bass and,
But we made it work.
We made it work. He actually, I gotta give Tony credit, he actually really stepped up and played on Sadness. You might disagree, but anyway, so at that point, we had that going, and then we had Roberto Franco, Bobby, as we call him, wonderful human being.
Yeah.
He joined on second guitar, and at that point, we started writing the second song, which is the Faustian Heart, and then we started working on, I think, On the Sea of Evening.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, because we moved out of Bobby's basement, and then we actually got a practice space that we have to go pay for now. And we took months and months, but we practiced like insane.
4 times a week.
Like until late in the early morning.
And
Those were long, too. Those were really, really long.
There was no
practices.
missing a practice.
Yeah.
Nobody was missing a practice.
4 or 5 hour practices.
Straight, too. I don't
hours.
think we took many
Once in a while.
Here and there.
Yeah, but
Once in a while we paused and it was because it was too hot and we would talk about The Simpsons.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, and we got a practice space that was also across from the Ferrara Pan Company. They're no more. They make lemon heads and stuff. So sometimes, on rare occasions, there'd be free candy, which was pretty awesome. But our landlord, she was horrible. I remember her. She sucked. She's probably dead, but I just want to put it out there in case her family's watching.
This album is dedicated.
Yes.
Oh my God.
So really the way this all, there's a huge story that could go on forever, but we had that lineup for Sadness, and at that point we were playing a shit ton of shows, like almost every weekend.
Yeah.
We were doing a lot of out-of-state shows. We ended up doing a lot of fest. We started doing a lot of Michigan Death Fest. Metal Mom, met her.
We love you.
We love you, Metal Mom. Also, too, at that point, we got a guy, anybody in Chicago, old school, probably knows him, Daryl Head.
Of course.
Yeah.
Daryl Vicious
Yes.
Entertainment.
That's our manager.
Yeah, I met him, and I knew he managed, and I had a copy of Delicatrice You've Read, and the first single was Anastasia of Sadness, because we were like, hey, let's record it. It came out really well, and I was like, what if we just like gave people copies? And we gave like a shit ton of copies.
We made them on cassettes. They were
cassettes back at the time.
and just handed them out at a show. And our next show that we played, it was at the Thirsty Well, and it was full.
Yeah.
People that knew that one song, Anastasia.
Yeah, he was a visionary.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Sure, I'll take that.
God bless him.
Yeah.
Miss him. We love you, Daryl.
That's right.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
guy. Good guy.
Rest in peace.
So at that point, I'll stop there because that's where things, I think, within the band started to kind of disintegrate to a good place. And
Finally, finally, serious question.
that's okay.
What kind of a balance does this album bring into your recording career?
Balance.
Oh, for me, I can't speak for you guys,
No,
but
speak for yourself.
it's kind of like a great way to kind of, put a capstone on the band because we weren't really sure what we were going to do with it, and we didn't really expect it to be taken off like this, or at least getting this kind of attention, and we're just so happy and grateful for that. So thank you, everybody.
Yeah, to get a second chance at our age,
Yeah.
it's been life fulfilling.
Okay, I can add that, if I may.
You may.
Because Rick and I talked about it, we all have, same with Jimmy. The warm welcome back was unexpected. We really just wanted to get the record out. I remember at one point we were just like, let's just get the thing released and just play a couple shows and just, it was way out, completely out of left field and just unexpected. So
We sent it to you, Mark.
Yeah.
We sent it to you and said,
thank you,
what do you think about this?
We didn't know.
I love that.
It was weird because we didn't know. I'm like, I don't know, like just put it out there. I guess we didn't know what to expect, and it was overwhelming would be an understatement. It just really caught us off guard, not by surprise.
The album's been out for a little over a month, and so far the reaction has been great. It feels like everything's been justified. We never got to a point where we were happy, where we said, okay, we're in a good place. This time, at our age, having this kind of a response to the album has been incredible.
Yeah.
We're just grateful,
Thank you, everybody. Honestly,
Absolutely.
from the bottom of our hearts.
especially those that bought the records and CDs and paid for the MP3s and just download it on Spotify. I mean, that's just all of that is great. Love it. Love it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you so much.
Awesome.